Good afternoon, everyone. Looks like we have a quorum, so we'll go ahead and get started because it's just a little over 3 o'clock. So we will first go around the room, and I think there's more people online than there is in the room. So we'll start with those online. Carolyn, would you like to start by introducing yourself, and we'll just go down the order of the participants online.
Good afternoon, Carolyn Haston, El Paso County representative and no longer one of the newest members of the board. So I'm also excited to share that IHI has a new age-friendly healthcare professional certification, and I was just awarded that as part of the first group to be certified. So happy to bring that perspective to the board as well.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Jody?
Good afternoon, all. This is Jody Barker, Director of the Area Agency on Aging.
Laura?
So Laura probably wasn't ready to go. She's not a member of the Commission on Aging. However, she is an elected official from the town of Monument.
Okay.
And so we typically allow them a speaking role during these meetings.
Okay. I thought we usually introduce everyone. Penny? Park County Penny? If you're talking, Penny, we can't hear you. Okay, we'll move on to Dayton.
Good afternoon, everyone. Dayton Romero, Colorado Springs representative here on the commission, and looking forward to today's conversation. Thanks.
Great. The rest are guests online that I see. Is that correct, Jared? All right, we'll go to those in the room. Starting with me, I'm Paula Levy. I chair the Commission on Aging and am with Never Alone Consulting and A Place Like Home Adult Day program.
Hi, Phil Stafford with my business, Independent Home Living, certified aging in place specialist, also on Paula's board, A Place Like Home, and representing the Lockwood Foundation, making adventure accessible to all.
Good afternoon, Steve Schleicher, El Paso County Clerk and Recorder, and also a representative of El Paso County.
Penny Whitney, representing the Colorado Commission on Aging and JAWS, Jumpstart Aging Workforce Solutions.
Melissa Marsh with the Pikes Peak Area Agency on Aging.
Kathy Cirillo-Smith. I guess I'm at large. I guess I'm not at large. Member? I'm vice chair.
Good afternoon. I'm Marilyn Dawson, representing Hey Neighbors. Hey Neighbors.
All right, next we'll move on to item 2, approval of the agenda as presented. We need a motion for the approval of today's agenda.
This is Kathy. I move that we accept.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Madam Chair, this is Steve. I second.
Thank you, Steve. All those in favor of the agenda approved as written, please say aye.
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 All right, motion carries unanimously. Next, we have consent items that are not actually, we have the minutes from this last month's meeting that we need approval of, and those should have been in your packet that Melissa sends out in good time. So is there a motion to approve the minutes for the September meeting as written? Anyone online would like to make a motion to approve the minutes as written?
Madam Chair, this is Steve. I would make that motion.
Thank you, Steve.
Penny Whitney, I second.
Thank you, Penny. All in favor of the minutes being approved as written, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are approved unanimously. All right. Next, we have item 4, public comment and presentations. And I don't think we have anybody in the room or online for public comment, though we might, because I'm not familiar with everyone online. Do you see anyone there for public comment? Okay. All right. Then we
So
will.
I'll just say for those who are online, if you want to use the raise hand function to let us know you look like by public comment, I'll just confirm that we did not receive any advance requests or any written public comment. And I see no hands raised so far.
Thank you, Jared. Penny from Park County, is your microphone working yet? She popped off. Never mind, she jumped off. I think she's still trying. Oh, there she is. I think she's still trying to get that to work. All right, moving on, we will move on to number 5, action items. Our action items from last month were to have the working groups bring information to the meeting. Each group, each leader from the group to give an update on where the groups were. Is that correct?
Yes, but we can talk about that.
When we get to the,
yeah.
okay.
Yep.
All
So we
right.
can
Were there
just-
any other action items?
Nope.
All right. Wow, we're just moving through this little agenda. Item number 6 is information items. Membership committee. For those who weren't here, last meeting was Aaron Marizella's last meeting with us, and so we are currently in the market for a membership chair to take on that role. But I believe Melissa might have a membership update for us.
I do, thank you. So last month also, we welcomed Bob Foster as the appointee from Teller County and Aaron Eleuthero as the appointee from the town of Monument. Both of them had previous things happening, so they're not able to be here again today, but hopefully they'll be with us starting in November. But we did do an orientation with both of them. That went great. They actually traveled from Monument and the Woodland Park area, so they came in person, and that was wonderful to have them here in person. And they got to meet each other. They got to hear all about the Commission on Aging and the different work groups. And Bob has already indicated that he is interested in the Housing and Transportation work group. So I'll be following up with Steve and Phil on that a little bit more. Erin is still thinking about it, but she was leaning more towards social engagement because for those of you who know, she's connected with the senior center up there in Silver Key, or with Silver Key up in Monument. So I think she's leaning more towards that social engagement piece, but has not confirmed yet. And then online, we do have Kim, and I apologize, Kim, I'm not sure how to say your last name, but I'll get to that in a second. Kim is coming to us as a recommended Commission on Aging member from the Age-Friendly Pikes Peak group. So Kim has been a part of Age-Friendly Pikes Peak for a little while, and both Penny Whitney and Judy Scott from UCCS we're kind of putting her forth. And potentially, she would be somebody that would be appointed by the city of Colorado Springs. So welcome, Kim. And if you have a second to kind of say your last name for us, and if you wanted to kind of just say a few words to our group, I'll put you on the spot. Or maybe she's just listening in. So, nope. Are you there, Kim?
No, we can't hear you, Kim. I see your video and you talking, but I cannot hear you.
All right. Well, Kim, feel free to put a comment.
Yes.
There we go. Now we can hear you. Yep.
Okay, perfect. I'm not that used to Teams, and so I think my settings were not quite working, but, thank you for including me today. So I work for USAA, that is my day job, but, my real passion is advocating for older adults, elevating their voices, doing storytelling around them, but, specifically, I'm very interested.
Good. We had a couple of our jurisdictions that did presentations to their appointed folks. So the city of Colorado Springs, Park County, and then we of course had some meetings amongst ourselves, the people who were the appointees, and we had a goal of doing presentations twice a year. Once was in May because it's Older Americans Month, and then the other month we were hoping for some time in the fall. And so I'm just going to put that out to our jurisdictions, to our jurisdiction members to be thinking about, because you'll probably be hearing from me again to try to work on that. Based on timing, we might, just kind of try to stay focused on doing another presentation in the spring in May, and then, trying to make sure that we get something scheduled to do it in the fall of 2026. But just know that we want to really take to heart what that means to be an appointee by the jurisdiction, and try to figure out how that looks and how we, communicate the work of the Commission on Aging and the needs for seniors in our region. Also, along with that, the Commission on Aging itself, in the new year, in January, a little bit later, ideally the new chair and whoever else would be doing a presentation to the PPACG board. And I say that because when the jurisdictions are doing their updates to their jurisdiction, there's a tie to making sure that our PPACG board, gets that information as well. So really, in some ways, kind of the next thing that might be happening here in the near future is our new, chairperson kind of doing that regular update to the PPACG board. And the last thing is, because there's been so many things that are happening around housing, Andy and Jody did talk about the Commission on Aging doing a presentation to the PPACG, or a workshop presentation to the PPACG board in the first quarter of the year. So we have a lot of things to kind of keep our eyes on, and, be prepared for ongoing kind of presentations. So for people who are appointees, any other comments that you'd like to add to that, or thoughts that you're seeing?
Can you name those that are appointees?
I'll try. All right. Because the good news is we have so many of them. Anyway, so for El Paso County, we have 3 appointees. We have Steve, we have Wanda Wood. Wanda did send an email. She had a emergency that came up, and so she wasn't going to make it today, although she thought she might dial in. And then we have Carolyn, who's on the call. And for the city of Colorado Springs, we did have Erin, but she stepped down, and so now we're working to fill that role. In Monument, we have Erin. And then now in Teller County, we have Bob Foster. And the reason that I'm taking a little bit to think through it is because we also have appointees on the Regional Advisory Council as well. So I'm hoping that I got the ones correct for the Commission on Aging. Did I miss anybody?
I don't think so. Could someone?
Oh, yes, I did miss somebody.
Who's that?
Penny.
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 Yeah.
Oh, yes, Penny, Park County.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I think that's it.
So could a Colorado Springs person on the commission right now be an appointee?
Yes, they could.
Okay.
So, and so definitely, I think we want to talk about that too.
Okay.
You know, Kim is a great, is great to come forward as somebody recommended from the age-friendly Pikes Peak, but we also can be thinking about if we have an existing commissioner that we would want to put forward to the city of Colorado Springs.
Okay.
So,
Great.
and it's very possible that once all that happens, the city of Colorado Springs could put their own call out and come up with their own person. So just also
Okay.
always remember that, because that's kind of what happened with El Paso County. El Paso County put a call out and we had people apply that way. So that could happen with the city of Colorado Springs too.
Great. Thank you for that report.
Yep.
All right. Any other jurisdiction reports? None? Now, next is the policy committee, and I see Jared sauntering to the podium.
I don't want to jump ahead in case there was an update from the Colorado Center for Aging, which I don't have an update for. Okay. Alrighty, I will go ahead and start on the legislative side. The nice thing is that it's only half a page. So on the state side, since the last time the commission met, we did have a new state budget forecast that came out. Really nothing groundbreaking in terms of changes, just kind of updating some numbers. This forecast is significant in that it is the one that the executive branch uses to formulate their budget, which is due to the General Assembly by November 3rd. So that's why this one is a little bit more unique than the other ones. High numbers, roughly, the state has about $300 million that they need to make up for this current fiscal year, and $800 million that they need to make up next fiscal year. And then we've got pulled up here, also on the state side, the Board of Directors did adopt its 2026 legislative themes and priorities for the state budget. One big change and then one smaller change. The big change you'll see up here is we did separate local control outside of transportation and aging. So historically what PPACG has done was really limited in terms of if it was a local control issue, it had to be connected to something that we already work in, primarily transportation and aging. What this does is that it pulls it out, and if it's any kind of local control issue, land use is the biggest one that comes to mind. Then PPACG will get more active in that as its own, as the council of governments. And so that's probably the biggest change from a legislative priorities for 2026. And we did also, there it is. I'm like, I know we added it in there. The third bullet point under aging, you guys might recognize this. This came from the Commission on Aging. This was moving the homestead exemption into its own dedicated funding source and not tied to table refunds. So that's the biggest changes on the state side. On the federal side, today is day 15 of the government shutdown. So far, we are not impacted by that because we can draw down funds in advance. So right now, our operations are continuing as normal, which today of all days is Medicare open enrollment, and the state health insurance program team is busy getting people some counseling on Medicare. So those are the updates on the legislative side. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Jared online? All right, Jared, thank you very much.
Alrighty, and I can step in for board. I know Jody just asked if I can step in,
Sure.
but he is online in case I forget anything.
Great.
So he'll keep me honest.
Sure.
From the board meeting last Wednesday, I would say nothing that was specific to the Area Agency on Aging. However, there were a lot of issues that were agency-wide across PPACG. I would say nothing huge or groundbreaking, but some things that just kind of change operationally on the inside. The board did adopt new financial policies. This was essentially just codifying existing practice. A lot of things that we had been doing and we had been applying them consistently, but they were never actually written down anywhere until last Wednesday. But this does allow for some greater consistency and transparency, both for staff and for the public. Also financially related, the preliminary budget was provided to the board. That'll most likely be adopted at November meeting, but they can wait till December if they have other questions. The biggest part of that is that the proposed member due fees are staying the same for next year, 2026. So if you're unfamiliar with how that process works, all of our member jurisdictions, all 16 of them, pay dues, and it's based on assessed property valuations. A lot of our jurisdictions are facing some really tough financial budgets this year. And so in lieu of that, and knowing that that's a big part of what 2026 is looking like for a lot of our jurisdictions, particularly those that are dependent on sales taxes as the base of their revenue streams, we opted to keep dues flat for 2026. Financially, and this is why I'm not the financial director, but I will do my best to pretend to be Carol. But she's like, we can absorb that cost without any impacts to our operations. But like I said, that'll come for adoption most likely next month. The board also received preliminary results from the Pikes Peak Community Foundation survey for the Our Spacious Skies initiative. If you're interested in what those preliminary results were, I would encourage you to look at the video from last month's meeting. It's at the beginning of the meeting. But they did a very good job of presenting kind of those initial findings. But more complete results are going to be released by the Community Foundation early November. And then another good piece of news, Associate Director Melody Hanna celebrated 5 years of service at PPCG and was recognized for that at the board meeting. That's all I've got. Happy to answer any questions, and Jody, feel free to jump in if I missed anything.
Thank you, Jared. I think that's a really great summary. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Jared.
Alrighty,
As
thank
always.
you.
And Penny, I know your meeting is tomorrow with the Colorado Commission on Aging. Did you have anything from last month's meeting?
Actually, the focus has been on tomorrow's meeting, which will be an all-day meeting at Red Rocks Community College, focusing on strategic planning. So after tomorrow's meeting, a summary of what was accomplished this year will be reported on, and then the focus for next year. I think probably for us locally, the importance is focusing on their working groups. And they are, they being the Colorado Commission on Aging, encourage participation in the working groups across the state. And our Pikes Peak Commission on Aging is actually quite well represented. Penny from Park County has been a consistent contributor and participant, and very much presenting a voice for rural mental health focus areas on the Mental Health Committee. I sit, and Kim, that is interested in joining PPCOA. She also is a member of the Age Friendly group, where they're looking at how do they standardize the communication and the framework for Age Friendly so that there's a standard framework, yet it can be tailored and customized to individual communities. And then the meeting today, that is an important meeting, I think, for us locally, is the workforce meeting. And the target priority for the Commission on Aging at the state level is the 50-plus workforce. And there have been 2 focus groups, one held in person in Denver, one held virtually that included people from our region, southern Colorado and southeastern Colorado. There will be 2 more, northwest Colorado and the western slope. And they will be, the workforce committee will be compiling the information, looking at what is the profile of a 50-plus person who's looking for work, what are some of the barriers, and then looking for recommendations and opportunities to help meet those. Healthcare is a primary target just because we know of the aging demographics and the disparity between where the demographic growth is going and the workforce growth, in particularly the direct care workforce. So more to come after tomorrow's meeting, but the energy will be in the activity and the collaborative work of the work sessions. And so hopefully there will be additional work sessions that members of our commission will be interested in. So thanks.
Thank you, Penny. Next is,
Husband,
oh, go ahead.
Berlin. Penny asked me to share that her audio is not working, and that she's working on having a suicide prevention training in Park County Fair Play in January to support having trouble with seniors and depression. This is her text message to me. I don't think chat is open for her to have put that in there.
All right, thank you, Carolyn. Could you repeat that one more time?
Yes, her message was that she's working on having a suicide prevention training in Park County Fair Play in January. The sentence here is having trouble with seniors and depression, but I think I might want to clarify that. Maybe it's for individuals that are seniors that are struggling with depression.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. All right, next is the chair report. And I just have to say that I'm hearing more and more about the work that this commission is doing out in the community. I'm hearing about collaborations. I'm hearing, it's just really amazing from where we started when I first joined the commission to where we are now, and the involvement and the enthusiasm we have. It's been amazing to watch it transform, and I'm just happy to be leading it at this time because it's just been fun to watch. I know Jody might have something to say about that, and Melissa has watched us. She has nursed us alive this whole time, but it's been really amazing to watch the transformation. I just wanted to make that comment.
Thank you. That's great, Paula, and I think you're right on target. There's been a huge change and a lot of work done by so many people since the Commission on Aging moved from the city to a regional focus, and really expanding that focus has allowed us to take a much more holistic approach to the conversations and really expanding work groups that were initially considered, and having that focus across all three counties versus one singular city has been just a world of difference. And I really appreciate getting that report back because it tells us that people are becoming aware of the Pikes Peak Commission on Aging and what the good work and work groups are doing. So thank you so much for sharing that.
And I just have to mention that Dayton was really at the beginning of all of it as our chair, and his North Star approach really guided us when we were really small and floundering. So Dayton, kudos to you for taking it on and getting us to where we are. You were amazing. All right, next up are our presentations, and our first one is with Hey Neighbor, and we will have them come to the podium. Oh. All right, Melissa, you're going to introduce?
And I apologize. I gave her the option to either present from there or podium. So we're good either way.
Well, good evening, everyone. And should I say, hey, neighbor? So we are Hey Neighbor. This is Leah Gibson Green, and I am Marilyn Dawson, and we are community coordinators for this wonderful, wonderful entity. I'm fairly new. I came in June, and Leela has been with it since the very, onset of the Kona?
Well, I've been with Hey Neighbor for a year and a half as far as an employee, but I've been working with Hey Neighbor, formerly Kano, for over 10 years.
Yeah.
So I'm familiar with. Do I need to speak up? Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
that's good. Okay, just push the button. We are a community where everyone loves their neighbor, and I love what you have up there, communities working together. So we inspire neighbors to create vibrant communities. Inspiring them, that we believe that vibrant communities include unique destinations. Different communities have wonderful coffee shops and different things in them that people just really overlook. But your community is really a unique destination. We want to impart neighborhood pride about the things that are going on and the people in your neighborhood. We want to help people connect as neighbors to not only themselves, but the agencies and resources around them. We want to begin to activate that community in city issues or whatever concerns that they have so they can become advocates for their neighborhood. We love sustainability and resilience in the programs that we offer, and then we look at community safety, accessibility, health, wellness, and everybody loves their neighborhood. So our programs help neighbors connect, build relationships, and most importantly, create change. We make it easy to connect with our neighbors, and we look for neighborhoods that come to us because they're having some disconnection or division, neighborhood safety and resilience gaps, my neighborhood, underutilized local strengths and resources, declining civic engagement. We want you to vote and be involved in this. This is a wonderful system, right? And then barriers to hosting community events. We are working with the parks and rec and culture and different venues so that people can host their events in wonderful venues and connect their neighbors and have fun. Yep, we want to create joy in the neighborhoods. We want to inspire welcoming communities where not only you and your neighborhood together, but people want to come to your neighborhood because you all are so much fun and have so much to do, right? Strengthen support networks with partnerships like you. Activate neighborhood assets. There's so many people that have so many talents in the neighborhood, so we want to wake them up and activate them, inspire active and engaged neighborhoods, and that really looks good because we went to an event in Pleasant Valley, and that's a very active and engaged neighborhood. And making gatherings simple and achievable. We have something just even as simple as coffee, right? Everybody loves to come around coffee, so there's no reason why you cannot connect with your neighbors. And talking about Neighborhood Cafe, this is her invention, so I'll let her talk about that.
Yes, Neighborhood Cafe. There you can gather, whether you invite your neighbors to your home, or you can invite your neighbors to the park. You can invite your neighbors. I had one organization, they partnered with the neighborhood school, and they had a neighborhood coffee. And so we will bring the complimentary coffee. You just sign up to apply to be a host, and then we bring the coffee. And a lot of the times, the first time is just gathering as neighbors. And then you can actually discuss some of the things that's going on and some of your concerns. And there's so many different things that came out of different neighborhood cafe. Each one of them is different. One group wanted to start walking groups. They wanted to do walk-in audits, but that's my other hat. I do walk-in audits. So I trained them to do walk-in audits, and then I invited them to a walk-in ability summit I did. And so they got involved as neighbors and became more resources to their neighbors. And so many different things, whether it's movie night or, anything that they have interest in, we as Hey Neighbor, we either find the resources for them, help them create an outline of how they're going to get there. And so it just opens up a magic door to get them involved and activate their neighborhoods. All over coffee.
Yeah. We also, on this next slide, that QR code shows you our toolkits. So we have different toolkits that the neighborhood leader, and that's what we're activating. We want leaders in these neighborhoods to activate their neighborhoods. So we have free toolkits. We have this wonderful thing that people who just love, the block parties. Oh my goodness. You can block off your neighborhood and have these wonderful block parties, and it's as much as you imagine. We come along beside you, help to get the permits and secure the barricades. We have the barricades, so there's no reason why you can't have like a fabulous harvest party in your neighborhood. And then we host memorable neighborhood parties. Oh my goodness. So as I think about all the ones that we've done, it's just wonderful, and it's just getting better. We did one with Kathy. Oh my goodness, the ice cream social. Okay, that's on my hit list forever now. Just the joy that it brought to come to that South Circle community, and everybody connected and talked. We put on the music. Everybody, I'm putting on 50s, 60s music, so we're reminiscing. And that's what we want to do, just bring communities together, right? With joy. And we had a planting party. That's the newest thing that we did. And we brought people from all age groups, even my 4-year-old granddaughter. And we took the neighbor's yard and we just transformed it. We planted all those plants that you see there. We planted trees and apple trees, cherry trees, peach trees. So it's sustainable. They can go out in the summer, pick fresh fruits and vegetables from their yard. And we want to enable, especially with some of these neighborhoods losing their grocery stores and stuff, we want the people to have an option on how to get their fresh fruits and vegetables, right? So we're just all about community. See what you got up there? Communities working together. And after we finished with that, I looked around the community, and that's what we did. So we're about relationships, and we are about helping you to connect with us so that we can connect you to the community to do the work that you do. Anything else?
Yes, if I can add, yeah, as Marilyn stated, we are the bridge between the city and the neighborhood. So we work with both. If the city asks, for an example, they want to do a town hall meeting, or they want to do some committees, they will contact us. And then we have a software where we know where our neighbors are and our leaders are. And then we can email those leaders and neighbors and say, hey, they're looking for someone in the District 1 area or the District 2 area, and then that neighbor has an opportunity to say, yes, I want to get involved. So we connect them on a civic level as well, and find those resources for the city as well so as our neighbors.
And Neighborhood University. You can't forget that. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
That's how I found them.
Okay, Neighborhood University, that is a 12 weeks program. The first week is orientation, the last week is graduation. The 10 weeks in between is civics, advocacy classes. It's like an hour and a half per week, and we have the city planners, or we have the mayor advisor come out, Thomas Thompson. And so different people come out and kind of share how the city does what it does. And then it allow our neighbors to know how and who to contact. Yeah. Okay, and so, and then they graduate. And so from there, we look at them as a leader, because it's also a leadership program. And so they are now able to equip themselves to be one of their neighbors in their neighborhood, because now they can direct their own neighbors where to go. So it's a wonderful program.
Mm-hmm. And we are here to empower you to engage in the community and to create positive change.
And I believe, I don't know if we talked about, our third program is the neighborhood leaders. The neighborhood leaders are someone who either they have taken the neighborhood university, the 12 weeks program, or maybe they in their job, they're a supervisor, they have some type of leadership skills. They can apply to be a neighborhood leader in their neighborhood. And so we're looking for neighbors there are 77 neighborhoods in Colorado Springs, okay? And so we are trying to get at least one leader per neighborhood, although we know there are many. And so we're just trying to get them to sign up and do what they do best, lead in their own neighborhood. We're not there to lead for them. We're there to support whatever their needs are.
Yep. We really, the last summer, we really were trying to address these issues. The mayor especially wanted us to address the issues of isolation and loneliness in all populations. And now we have this big thing called suicide. I heard somebody talk about suicide, and that is so real. And we want to incorporate that into our neighborhood gatherings and things where we can have some conversation on how to solve it. And then know who your neighbors are, because we have aging people in the neighborhoods, and so it would be great if we could assign people and connect people together just to keep an eye on each other, to encourage each other, to call each other. So we really looking at that and the mental health of our neighborhoods.
And one of the things we just did, one of our big events, were a State of the Neighborhood luncheon, where we had the long tables, if you have seen that before. And so we gathered 80-something neighbors together and had lunch at Hillside and invited the mayor as well to come. And so September the 28th is National Good Neighbors Day. So we had a proclamation done. And so gathering those neighbors together and just having a dinner, having, breaking bread with them. And that's what it's about. And so connecting and helping making change. And that's what we're about.
Thank you so much for your time.
That
Any
was great.
questions?
That was great. Anybody have questions?
I don't have a comment. I echo that that was a good presentation, and I'm glad the times that I'm along beside you to do that.
I can definitely, this is Penny, testify to the energy that Hey Neighbor brings to an event with our ice cream social. I tell you that with Marilyn and the music and the connection, and I think you did identify leaders during that because you had your activity calendar out and going. Of the 77 neighborhoods, how many would you say actively participate in Hey Neighbor activities?
As leaders,
No, just as communities that may do one or two things, but,
well, as coordinators, we divide up the district. I
Okay.
have District 4 and District 6. District 4 is the southeast region.
Okay.
And then District 6 is east of that.
Okay.
And then Maryland has 1 and 2. These districts, and then we have another coordinator that has 4 and 5. And so the district is based on the city council
okay.
district. And so there's someone signing up for whether they signing up for neighborhood cafe or signing up for become a neighborhood leader or signing up for neighborhood university. Normally we get about 35 to 40 people who sign up for neighborhood university.
Wow.
Yeah. And then out of that, maybe 30 of them will complete it. But this is an ongoing thing twice a year.
Nice.
And so we have all these different districts. And so as far as neighborhood leader, that's a new program. Right now, out of the 77, I think we got like 36 or so from those different neighborhoods. And we're still working on that. We have mayor fellows from the mayor fellowship program, and we have 4 of them working alongside us to get those numbers up.
Nice. Do you have programs for youth within neighborhoods?
You know, we just talked about that, working on that population. I believe, for me, it's very important to have different generations, right? And so that is something that we are talking about.
Nice.
Bringing youth into, and have some leadership.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We do have programs for them though.
Okay.
There's our neighborhood play day and what's that? Marco Polo? No, what is that?
Marco Polo.
Mario Kart.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have what we call a play day. A play day is just, You can sign up for your neighborhood just to get out. A lot of time over coffee or just playing kind of breaks up the, the getting to know one another. Maybe you, and so what we did is to say, hey, how about your neighborhood just sign up to play? And so we had cornhole, and we had this new program, new sports called Aero Sports. And people sign up for that as well. And so we're just finding different ways to connect. Once they connect, then they start talking about what's going on in their neighborhood. And then we find the resources that they need. We have one in Maryland. She had a neighborhood cafe, which that's the program I run. But she's one in Maryland's, in her district. She wants to start a neighborhood association. And so our job is to help her with resources. Years ago, Kano, a different administrator, they were doing neighborhood association. That was their focus. And so our focus this time is a little different.
Good.
So, but if that is the need, then we find the resources to help them help themselves.
The reason I ask is I'm involved with a program with high school students. It's called Jumpstart Aging Workforce Solutions, JAWS. These are kids that are in high school that are interested in healthcare. And so having met the people at Circle Drive in August, I think when Kathy led us in our activity there, Harrison High School is right across the street. So we have a nice solid group at Harrison High School, and we were talking, they would like to partner with Circle Drive and do projects with them because all they have to do is walk across the street. So I would not have even known about that if it hadn't been for the energy that Marilyn brought to the ice cream social that the Commission on Aging sponsored. So I think it's just a wonderful example of how the we do it together connections go together. So thank you. Yep.
Well, and to piggyback on Penny, you talked about how the city, you connect with the city and partner with the city to with what they want. My thought was to partner with school districts because they, like Penny has her program in several different school districts, but school districts have the different age of kids throughout different schools, and there's there's neighborhoods throughout their districts that would benefit really from having a neighborhood. There's some kids that wouldn't probably even know what the word neighbor meant, so but I think to partner with school districts, and I sat in on a meeting, it was just a neighborhood meeting in Cheyenne Mountain School District, and it was mostly employees that were there. Very little neighbors showed up for it, but they were talking about how do we get this message out to the neighborhood, and this would be a perfect example of how they could partner with you all to get the message out and not just put something on a windshield and walk away, but make a connection, make that personal connection. So I would think partnering with someone in the school or the student councils, or some schools have Rotary impact clubs at the school, but those kids are already service-minded and would maybe take this program to an abbreviated level to the schools and then roll it out to their neighborhoods.
I like that.
We love that. Plus, we've been discussing it, and we're getting ready to have a strategic meeting, and that was talked about the schools and also to involve churches. Those are two big community entities.
So the superintendent of Cheyenne Mountain School District is in the Rotary Club that I belong to. So if you need a connection, I could give you that connection.
Great.
Thank you.
I too want to sit there and thank you, ladies, for helping me out, as far as promoting voting, getting out there and let your voice be heard. And sadly, we have an election going on, and historically here in El Paso County, the turnout for a coordinated election, which I feel is extremely important election, has been about 35%.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, I don't think many of our voters understand how important a coordinated election is. And it really bothers me when we sit there and you know, look at is a third of our community is dictating how our county and how our city moves forward.
Yeah.
There is a lot of important questions, you know, that are on the ballot. The other thing is it Lilia?
Lelia,
Lilia? Okay. You and I need to partner up.
well, we can.
Absolutely. Because I tell you, I was looking at that in regards to your district, and I just want to go back to and highlight, we had a 77% voter turnout in our presidential election, and I was predicting a 90%. And actually, we would have gotten there. So if we look at El Paso County as a whole, and this is the reason why you and I need to partner up, because it's going to fall in line with the areas, you know, that you have been assigned. Southeast.
Absolutely, low voting turnout.
Yep. So throughout the county, minus the Southeast, we're in the high 70s, high 80s voter turnout. Southeast was low 40s. And so what really bothers me about that is, one, it's a very low turnout. Two, I grew up there. You know, we lived in Southborough, Eastborough, then moved down into Security Whitefield. And that area in particular has a lot of retired military. And these are individuals that serve their country to ensure that we have the right to vote. And I'm just sitting here trying to figure out what we can do to promote that, and maybe doing town halls, coffees, getting people excited and let their voice be heard. But I got your contact, ma'am. You're going to get
It would be my pleasure, sir.
You're going to get an email from Steve Schleicher, and you're going to, oh, great, this guy again. So
No problem.
thank you.
So I have a couple of questions too. So you talked about that we have 77 neighborhoods in Colorado Springs. And so do you guys have that list on your website? How do we know where, I have two questions. How do we know all of these 77 neighborhoods? What are they? And so how do we know that?
We do have a map on the website.
Okay.
And just give you an example, for me, I've lived in the Southeast for over 35 years. I thought I lived in Southborough all that time. Not until I started working for Hey Neighbor. I live in Gateway. I don't even know what Gateway is. I never heard of it. So yeah, it is very important that we know our neighborhood that we live in. And we do help you along the way. If you don't know, we can help you find that on the map on our website.
Great. And then along that line, you know, Kono before was, you know, working with neighborhoods to develop a neighborhood association. Well, what does that mean? And, you know, do all of these 77 neighborhoods have neighborhood associations, or they don't have to, or, you know, so talk a little bit about kind of the neighborhood association concept, and then just kind of Hey Neighbor and the fact that we have 77 neighborhoods.
Okay, we have 77 neighborhoods, but it's up to the neighborhood if they want an association. There are also HOA, like I live in an HOA because I live in a townhome. That's different than an association. But it's up to the neighborhood if they want one, and then they create that. And so because Hey Neighbor now, a whole different structure, we don't even address that. That's not the direction we're going in now. However, there are still some neighborhood associations that the formal Kano put together or helped together. And so, for an example, in the Southeast, there is a Hillside Association. There is K-Land Association. There is Knob Hill Association. All three of them was help and assist from the formal Kano. But it's up to the neighborhood if they want an association. For an example, Marilyn has a neighbor who wants to start one. And that's something that she Bennett, I did the neighborhood cafe, and all these different ideas came out. What I said to her, because what she was saying, and she want to do this, she want to do this. I said, well, sound like you want a neighborhood association. I said, well, you know, maybe between Marilyn and I, we can help you with some resources, but that's not something that we focus on, or where we dive into deeper to really help them put that together. We don't do that anymore.
And I think that's fine. I'm
Yeah.
just curious because I haven't really thought about it a whole lot.
Yeah.
And then talk a little bit about the planting party that you guys had. You know, was that one person's house that they planted at? The person who owned the house purchased the plants? Just talk a little bit about how that happened.
Well, I'm going to tell you from the beginning. It started with our executive director.
Yep, Kelly.
She has a sustainable front and backyard with all the different trees, apples, and all these different sustainable fruits and vegetables and flowers and different things. And it was her desire and her passion to get to know her neighbors. So she created that planting party. And that's how she started getting to know her neighbors, by doing that. And there is some grant fundings in which she was able to find
Yeah.
to do that. And so I think this may be her fifth
Yep. Had five
fifth
houses in
yards
the
that she's
neighborhood.
done.
Yes.
And so once she did the first one, those neighbors came together and they did that. And then when the next one came, those same neighbors who now know how to take care of the things that they planted, now they helping the next neighbor. So they all show up to the next neighbor's planting party. And our executive director is the one who started that, and she's the one to go from house to house to house. And those neighbors come along with her who have theirs. And so it's an ongoing learning, and it's an ongoing partnership within the neighbors.
Thank you.
Great benefits to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Because it's beautiful when you go in and have all these beautiful flowers and flowering trees. You have hummingbirds, all the butterflies and things, so it's transforming communities, right?
Yeah, that's great. I didn't know that about you guys. So, yep, another
So that's
good,
a new program
good
as
program.
well. Everything is new.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Great concept, and thanks on the neighborhood association versus the HOA. I was wondering about that. But can you expand on the neighborhood cleanup? How does that work? What's that look like? Is it seasonal? Is it year round? Is it the bad eyesore house? What's all that look like?
Well, for when I did a neighborhood cafe, that particular neighborhood wanted to have cleanups. That's what they wanted to do. And so they started, and what I did, I connected with the city, and they have trash bags and little gloves, and they have trash grabbers and all of that. So I was able to get all that, and they donated it for that. And so they are now on their sixth cleanup. So they go around to different community parts, and they do this on their own. And so we provide, we used to provide the trash bags and all of that. We no longer do that. And we used to also provide a dumpster, you know. We no longer do that. But we find a way in which we can help them. And so what I did, because I've been in the community a long time, I have those resources to where I could still help them with their cleanup. So I got one neighborhood. They do it faithfully now. They have a whole time frame schedule where they do cleanups, and they partner with their neighborhood school. And the first one, the neighborhood, the janitor, the maintenance guy asked if they can help with the yard. And so they did the cleanup side by side with the system principal on a Saturday. And then they continued to the neighboring neighborhood park. And they doing this on their own. So the cleanups is if that neighbor wants to clean up, then we help them find the resources and help them get started. Yeah.
Any questions online?
Let's see.
All right, ladies, thank you so much. That was
You're welcome.
fantastic. Just fantastic. And our next presenters are, is it Steve and Phil? Just Steve. All right. Not just Steve. I'm sorry. It is Steve, not just Steve.
A card for your business.
What a good connection. Yes. Neighbors.
So, Madam Chair and colleagues, thank you. In fact, I've been asked to come and speak on the Colorado Senior and Disabled Veteran Property Tax Exemption Program. In addition to that, I also wanted to throw in a little caveat and talk about something that's also very dear to me, is property fraud here in El Paso County. So first and foremost is looking at this as different chapters, is looking at understanding what the Colorado Senior Property Tax Exemption, which supports our seniors here locally with a tax break. So there's eligibility requirements. So this is not an entitlement. This is actually an earned benefit for our seniors here in the state of Colorado. So to be eligible for the senior property tax exemption is residents have to be 65 years of age or older, owned or occupied their property for 10 or more years, which has to be consecutive years as of January 1st of the application year. So this was actually passed by the voters back in back in 2000. So what this does is exempts 50% of the first $200,000 of market actual value from property tax. So if your home is valued at $200,000, is the assessor's office is going to exempt $100,000 of that. So if you equate that out, as you're saving 50% on property taxes. But just to share with you guys, I don't see any home anymore here in El Paso County for $200,000. So the state support, what this has done is it's reviewed annually by our legislature. So the Colorado General Assembly reimburses counties because these are monies that are due to our school districts, fire districts, and municipalities, but the state backfills those monies. And actually the monies for the senior homestead exemption come from our excess TABOR revenues. So the application process is extremely easy with our county assessor's office. Is you can submit an application to them. You can fill it out online. The deadline to submit the application is July 15th, which has passed for the 2025 tax year. So next year, if you meet these requirements, is you can apply for the 2026. So the exemption duration is once approved, it continues automatically. You do not have to reapply each and every year. So it remains until disqualifying event occurs, which some of those could be at the sale of the home, because what happens then, you have to start the 10-year ownership clock all over. Death, but however, is if you are married and your spouse is one that was 65 years of age or older and applied and was accepted as a senior homestead exemption, if your spouse passes away, you still get to keep the exemption. So new for 2025 and 2026 is the qualified senior primary resident classification is available for seniors who lost the exemption after 2020 but meet current criteria. So what they did is they went back on that. So if they qualified in 2020, they went ahead and applied that. So this actually has a real impact, and many in this room know how much this program means to me as the former county assessor. So when you sit there and you take a look on, $200,000 example of a home value is property taxed on only $100,000 after exemption, that's a 50% savings, which is extremely significant, especially how our property taxes have gone up over the last several years. This exemption helps seniors remain in their homes. I am a strong proponent of aging in place, and it does mean a lot to our seniors here in the community. So let's talk about another exemption, which is disabled veterans, because we have a lot of disabled veterans here in our community. So what this is looking at as well, to qualify for the disabled veteran, is you have to be 100% permanent and total disabled, rated by the Veterans Administration. However, in 2025, there was a law that was passed to expand that now includes veterans with individual unemployment status. Because the VA may sit there and say, this veteran is 75% disabled, however, they are not able to work. So that basically has been expanded. So same requirements as must own and occupy home as primary residence. The biggest thing between the disabled veteran and the senior homestead exemption, there's not a 10-year requirement. So this too exempts 50% of the first $200,000 of actual home value from property tax. One thing that I was extremely proud of as your former county assessor is we also passed this for Gold Star moms or fathers, you know, as far as, or Gold Star spouses and things like that. So again, for the disabled veterans, this one's a little weird, and I have attempted, and I think we're going to get it passed this year, is for the senior homestead exemption, the deadline was July 15th. Why is it different for disabled veterans? So it gets a little confusing. So we need to match that up where the deadlines to apply are the same. So the submission location, of course, is our county assessor's office. He has an amazing website that you go out to where you can do this online. And again, just as with the senior homestead exemption, there's a Colorado reimburses counties for lost revenue. Also, I will share with you, there is probably just over 1,000 of our property owners that are qualified in both the disabled veteran and homestead exemption. And so when I shared with them is with our disabled veterans that were in this program, I said, here's what you need to do. File for the disabled veteran, because that is not reviewed annually. It is permanently funded. Whereas the senior homestead exemption is reviewed annually, and there's times where it may not be funded. So that's the information that I shared with some of our disabled veterans. So basically, we as taxpayers, we as citizens are, you know, basically looking at, recognize the sacrifice that these disabled veterans have done for us here in this community and supporting stability. And we're looking at a 2025 expansion on this as well. So, as I shared, former assessor, now I'm your clerk and recorder. And one thing I will share with you is, and I think many of you know, is that one of the biggest blue collar crimes that's been going on in the United States is property fraud. And many of us, if we sit there and we call into work sick and we're catching up on Bonanza reruns and all that kind of stuff during the day, we watch commercials. And we say, send us $150 a month and we will sit there and do property lock. And we will sit there and make sure nothing is filed on your property. But that's $150. And folks, guess where they get that information from? County Clerk and Recorder's Office, which is free. So here's what happens. As soon as I became your clerk and recorder, I said, you know what? We need to do this for our community. And so what we ended up doing is within the first 60 days, I implemented a property fraud program, which then what that does is anything that's filed on your property, a quitclaim deed, warranty deed, public trustee deed, or even a lien, you're going to get a letter from my office. And we're going to sit there and share with you that this was filed on your property. However, timing is critical when it comes to property fraud. And what these people do is they do not target Steve Schleikers. They don't target the Phils. They target our senior citizens because they understand or are probably making assumptions that they have zero encumbrances on their property. They don't want to own the property. They want to take money out. So when they're sitting there taking, so you can sit there and find, it's like I got a home equity line of credit for $80,000 because those folks are thinking that this person owns the property. So they're just taking money out when a senior doesn't have any encumbrances where the mortgage is paid off, things like that. Historic, in the past, we caught an individual that filed 7 false quitclaim deeds on the property off 19th and Uinta, which is the old O'Brien's Printing. Historic property up there. He was caught. He was basically charged, and he's now spending over 20 years in prison because of the value of those parcels. So here's what we are doing. We are upgrading this. Timing is critical. So here in about 2 weeks, we are launching a brand new program where we're still going to mail letters, because I know a lot of seniors like that, and they don't like dealing with emails or text messages. But at the same time, and this is free to all property owners in El Paso County, is we are going to sit there and have a system where you can go in, set up your own account, Track the properties that you own, and you will be texted and emailed immediately when something is filed on your property. The reason why that's important, it will stop the process of recording that to the public record. So that is going to be going out here in the next several weeks, and my team and I are going to hit the media, get with our news stations, get on social media to let everybody know. And we're also going to be going to many of our senior centers and sitting down with them and assisting them in setting up the accounts to get those alerts and emails and things like that. So I think I actually went through everything without turning a page. How you like that? So here is where you can go and contact my office. So Phil, I think I put your cell phone on there. I'm kidding. Yeah, no, but you could absolutely take a look. Call me. That is my direct desk number and my direct cell phone number, my direct email. And you could always come into my office and sit down with me and we can go over it. But I'm pretty dang excited because once we implemented the one by mail, believe it or not, we did that 3 years ago and we have not had one case. So I'm putting the word out there is if you play stupid games, you're going to win a stupid prize in El Paso County. Any questions?
I thought there was a cost involved with signing up for getting that. So it's no cost.
No cost. Nope,
Wow.
It's going to be free for all property owners. So Melissa, that is a really good question because it doesn't matter if you own vacant land, commercial, residential property, no matter what, you can sit there and it's at no cost. So my office is paying for that, which of course is paid by taxpayer dollars, but you will not be paying a cost to do this.
Yeah. Thanks.
Absolutely.
I wish you were more excited about it.
I toned it down a little bit.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
gosh.
exactly.
Thank you
Definitely.
so much. Are there any questions online for Steve?
I'll just mention that Steve and the county assessor, county treasurer, will be doing a podcast recording with me live at the Pikes Peak Elder Abuse Coalition meeting on Friday. Some of you guys got notice of that already. But at 8 o'clock in the morning, again, kind of going into more detail about this resource and then also the ability for the treasurer to escrow property taxes.
Yes.
Because one of the things we have seen in the Elder Abuse Coalition numerous times, unfortunately, is older adults who do not pay their property taxes, and they've been having their houses and apartments or houses and condominiums foreclosed on. And so having that resource available is also a huge benefit to our seniors. And so, Steve, I know these are really important for you to get out and tell people about it. And thank you for all the time that you do get out and tell people about it, because you're going to be with me again on Friday morning. And I really appreciate it. And then knowing you're going to senior centers and everything else. But thank you for all your time. And does anyone else have any other questions?
No,
Comments?
and Melissa, I don't want to sit there and forget what you just mentioned, but I tell you what, is many of the countywide elected officials are absolutely advocates for not only for every one of our citizens, but also our seniors. And our treasurer, Chuck Borman, has done an amazing job, because when you think about it, is if a senior's not able to pay their taxes, doesn't matter if it's first half, second half, or total, is by state law, is a lien is placed on that property and it goes to tax auction. And it allows an individual to come in to redeem those taxes, and there's a lien placed on there. And unfortunately, if a senior cannot redeem those taxes within a period of 3 years, that lien holder can file for a treasurer's deed, and they can get that property just for the amount of taxes. It's horrible. So what he has done is he sat there and he's like, here's what we're going to do. And I'm looking forward to what he has to share coming up here in the next couple days, but he's taking monthly payments. So if they're sitting here going, hey, I could pay $30 a month towards this, instead of saying, having to come up with the money of $400, for first half or second half. So he is sitting here doing that, which puts extra work on his staff, but he is happy to do it. So he's done a great thing for our communities.
All right, thank you so much, Steve. Appreciate it. All right, we're on to item 8, working sessions. And the first one is creating age-friendly housing and transportation. Is there an update?
We have pretty much combined the groups, Steve and I, and our housing transportation with Pikes Peak Commission on Aging, and with the collaboration of David Lord, have joined forces with the elderly
Pikes Peak Elder Abuse Coalition's group as well, that
Right.
does housing work.
and Habitat for Humanity. And several of our groups have formed for a Zoom call, and we've scheduled their next one.
Fantastic, thank you. That's a big partnership. That's great. All right, next is strengthening caregiver supports and services. Carolyn?
I am happy to give an update.
Thank you.
Left the end of August and made some revisions to our draft mission statement. And I can read that as it currently stands. We meet tomorrow, I hope to finalize that. So the caregiver work group of the Pikes Peak Commission on Aging is dedicated to empowering family and other informal caregivers with a focus on advocacy, outreach, and community collaboration to support caregivers effectively. And our goals include promoting caregiver wellness, identifying resource gaps, and creating or supporting sustainable solutions that recognize and assist those who provide care and support to others. And then we also looked at just kind of the brainstorm list of goals and did a little prioritizing, and have come up with 3 recommended initial goals that support the family caregiver support, the current family caregiver support center. And those are to increase caregiver pampering event participation by 50% in 2026, to recommend and or support 2 caregiver related podcasts by December 2026, and identify at least 2 local or state policy opportunities to present on the family caregiver support center programs or existing caregiver programs that might not be known to the current center by December, and to share those with the commission. So hopefully more to come after we get to meet again tomorrow.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for that report. And finally, promoting social engagement and inclusion. I know there's been some activity within that group.
Yeah, currently, our next meeting is the 23rd, and it's going to be at the senior center, the new one. And then our follow-up meeting is going to be on the 7th of November.
I did not forward the film on because we kind of watched it last time.
Oh, I thought
We did, well, we did at the very end. And so, no, I didn't forward it, but Jared might find it quickly again and put it back up. But no, I did not forward it back on here. I just thought hopefully now we might have a few minutes to just really dig into the good things that did happen at that gathering. And we have the Hey Neighbor people here too. And just to be able to talk about it a little bit more because we were cut so short.
Well, Marilyn came, and
We talk about that ice cream social?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. We had a pretty good turnout, and we followed up with some people, and we're hearing a lot of positive feedback about how the neighbors are more connected now, and people have met people that have lived there for 30 years and they didn't even know each other. And so it's more of a safety thing also, because now if someone doesn't show up for a while, they check on them and they call each other and they get together, and they're having another get together on the 7th of November, and we're going back to do a
Are we
follow
headed
up.
back in? Just go back in.
And get more feedback. So it was a good success.
Yeah.
We really did well. Yeah. Penny worked as a hostess. Let's see. She was serving drink or ice cream she was carrying around.
Well, I carried the ice cream around, but that was simply because I hadn't contributed much before that.
Oh.
But I think that I think it is a really good example of action. And for the age-friendly group, we also have a social connection group. But that particular group is not focused so much on the doing. It really is looking at better understanding neighborhoods. And there was a phrase that was passed, it was at our first meeting, I think, hidden neighborhoods. And a group from CC, the Ormayo dance leaders, do a lot of work at Hillside. And one of the representatives from Ormayo, asked a really important question: who is the neighborhood hidden from? And I think your information today really clarified that within the neighborhoods, there is vitality, there is energy. And so it's, how do we make the connection? And what should that connection be? And so I think there's an opportunity to collaborate between the Commission on Aging, Social Connections, and Age Friendly. There's not a duplication of work, of focus that sort of brought all of the housing people together, but I think it's complementary. I don't know what it looks like yet, but I think we should invite, both groups to the parties, or the meetings. But I think the real value of the Commission on Aging group, Kathy, that you're leading, is that you're actually doing something. And I get nervous because too often we get in groups where all we do is talk. So I don't know. We need to explore what that might look like. I don't know. Yes. No, I do think there are opportunities for collaborating, and certainly for keeping each other apprised of what you're doing. Good. Tom Lathrop, yes. Tom Lathrop and the new senior center environment could be a really important component of all of the connections. I agree, Kathy.
So I just want to say super kudos and thank you to everybody who did put the time and energy and, investments on multiple levels into the ice cream social. I think it's lovely. And then hearing about the high school kids at Harrison and possibly connecting there too. Just so many good things. What I want to, here's the video.
Is there sound?
I can't remember if I think there was sound, but I think it's just generic music. Wanda, speaking of investments, Wanda did the video. And I think it was just generic kind of music in the background that she paired up with it.
Fantastic.
There we go.
So good.
Our follow-up meeting is going to be snacks, and it's kind of a munchy snacks, that type of thing, because they're all like old hippies. So that's what they wanted. That's what we're doing.
That's great. That's great.
And so I do want to add that I see that Penny Everest up there in Park County is still on the call with us. A lot of what we talk about here, I think it's really focused on Colorado Springs and Pikes Peak, or the El Paso County, really great things happening. But since we have Penny as Park County, and it's good that she reminded us earlier that they're doing a suicide prevention training in January. So always, Penny, keep speaking up. And I'm going to leave a few minutes there in case you want to text something more to Carolyn. But also want to remind folks that with the coming on board of Bob Foster up in Teller County, so we'll be, thinking about some more things here. So please keep our minds open to all those 3 counties and see how we can all benefit each other as a region. going forward. And this also goes for the age-friendly group as well, which is Pikes Peak age-friendly. But I know that they've been very Colorado Springs focused just because that's kind of who's been on it. But looking forward to having our new people come along that are from these other areas. And of course, as always, Penny Everest, who's up there in Park County, holding down the fort up there. And just kind of thinking about these 3 committees that we have. So thank you.
Great. All right, moving on. We're on item number 9, discussion items. Does anybody have items for discussion? No. Okay. And then 10 is member entity announcements. Anybody have any announcements? I do. My son got married and it was fabulous. And Phil's son got married too. Yeah. Those are big things. Those are big announcements. All right. Meeting schedule. Next meeting is the 19th of November. And executive meeting, committee meeting meets via Zoom or via Teams on the first Wednesday of every month at 9 a.m. Policy committee meetings are to be determined. Working groups have their own days and times that are set and posted. And the upcoming Pikes Peak Area Council of Government meeting schedule is included in our packet. So do we have items for next meeting that we want to make sure make the agenda? Online, anyone? Okay. Well, we'll figure something out at the executive committee meeting. And if you have, oh, Steve, do you have something?
Yes, I do, Madam Chair. And I talked to Phil a little bit about this, and I want to share with this group because of our contacts and what we do here in the community. But yesterday I received a email from our Department of Human Services director, and sadly she shared that 200 donors have basically said they can't participate in providing Christmas gifts for infants and our seniors this year. That is very significant, and of course that's weighing heavily on her heart. So she reached out to me, just seeing what I, in my capacity, could help out with. But if we do know of folks that would be able to assist the Department of Human Services, our children, and also our senior citizens to ensure that they celebrate Christmas, if there's any way we can help them out. But I'm going to probably challenge my staff to assist. But I just wanted to share that with you. It's a pretty sad occasion when we sit there and just have that amount of donors that are just not able to participate this year. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Sure. Is there select items that they have? They have lists of families and sizes and
So, Madam Chair, that is an absolutely great question, and I do have a flyer that they put together in regards to age categories, and none of it is more than $100.
Okay.
So if I could, may I share that with Melissa, and then Melissa could share that out to everybody?
Is that appropriate? Yeah, that would be great because, that's something that could go to all the Rotary groups in town and Kiwanis, and that's something that they would jump on, I think, fast. So.
I knew this would be the right group to talk to.
All right, great. Great. All right. Well, if there's no, oh, yes. Turn.
So, ma'am, you already basically shared that I'm able to email you once and twice, so now you're going to get 3 or 4.
Bring it. All right. Well, if there's nothing else for the meeting, I will adjourn at 4:31. Great, thank you all. Thank you to those online.